Rick and Morty gradually began to take their characters a little more seriously as the sitcom developed. By the second season, viewers had a better understanding of Rick's troubled past and how his hardships influenced his pessimistic outlook. Even though Rick and Morty's fourth episode of season May 7th be one of the more cerebral episodes, it's still packed with hilarious jokes. Originally anarchic sci-fi comedy, Rick and Morty on Adult Swim addressed the unbalanced power dynamic between the impressionable Morty and his all-powerful grandfather Rick. By the fourth season of the show, Rick and Morty season 7 has mostly avoided this kind of thoughtful character development. Comedic setups and chuckles have taken precedence over ambitious and emotionally driven narratives ever since the series took over for Justin Roiland as the voice actor of the titular Rick and Morty. But in That's Art, the fourth episode of Rick and Morty season 7, the show's darker side reappeared with a story about spaghetti cannibalism, death, and the difficult moral dilemma of consumption. Nevertheless, That's a More had viewers chuckle a lot despite dealing with a serious issue. Where Rick got his mysterious spaghetti, there is a dark secret behind the Smith family's favorite meal. In That Sort, the typically chaotic Smith family became close over a delicious spaghetti dinner in the opening scenes. The usual sniping and fighting within the clan broke out as they gushed about Rick's spaghetti, which was the ideal balance of spicy and sweet, and had even Summer, who was usually sarcastic, enthusiastic. The origin of this cherished family custom was then disclosed after the episode's cold open in Rick and Morty's most recent science fiction parody from season 7. Similar to Silent Green, Rick's spaghetti was manufactured from human beings. In particular, it is composed of Ians who committed suicide. Rick abuses his eraser of memories. The coded hero's nod backfires on him. 5. Rick shocks Morty by taking him to a foreign world where people commit suicide and their insides transform into spaghetti. Morty was shocked to learn that the family's favorite dish originated in a person's chest cavity. However, Rick used a Men in Black style memory wiping device on the mortuary attendant when he was equally appalled to witness two strange persons studying dead bodies. Rick's equipment was facing the incorrect direction, which caused him to erase his memories inadvertently. Worse, Morty's irritated response suggested that this was not the first time this Davies disaster had occurred. Smith's argument ethics in spaghetti. Jerry, Summer, and Beth turn on Morty. In the trailer for Rick and Morty season 7 episode 3, Mr. Stabby argued that his program should go on even if he was killing viewers all the time. However, the following episode had an equally ridiculous ethical discussion. The Smiths were horrified to learn that they had been eating alien organs without realizing it for weeks. But Morty's revelation irked them more than Rick's. To see Jerry was more forthright about it, but Beth did her best to disguise it. And by the conclusion of the talk, everyone had to concede that they simply didn't want to know the truth. When Morty learns that his attempts to fix things have made them worse, he becomes suspicious. Although Morty was barely mentioned in the first 3 episodes of Rick and Morty season 7, the character returns for the 4th installment by going back to the planet that gave the family their gory spaghetti replacement. Morty tried to mend things, but he made matters worse. The happy mascot of a company that marketed internal organs as a handy-can meal was achieved after the aliens persuaded Morty to serve as a spokesperson for the spaghetti that their melancholy inhabitants created. Rick and Morty season 7 episode 2 showed that Morty can be cunning when dealing with extraterrestrial crime leaders, but even he wasn't prepared for this awful turn of events following their first encounter. The entertainment options on the spaghetti planet. Rick and Morty made fun of several Downcast TV series. The administration of Spaghetti Planet did all in its power to encourage its citizens to think about ending their own lives to increase the production of spaghetti for the intergalactic market. Rick and Morty season 7 was able to poke fun at well-known pop culture icons because of the joke. Due to the guidelines, TV networks started airing solely reality TV series, and radio stations started playing DJ talk instead of music. A parody of Rick and Morty's Never Let Me Go from season 7 episode 4. Rick unintentionally ruined a classic independent sci-fi film. Morty enlisted Rick's assistant as he frantically searched for a more moral substitute for farming people to death. In Rick's initial effort, clones were trained to think that their only purpose in life was to become spaghetti. As a consequence, 2 disobedient clones committed suicide to escape their fate. Rick lamented this Never Let Him Go ripoff as Morty chastised him for giving away the plot of the 2010 dystopian sci-fi thriller. The Spaghetti Factory protesters gathered tensions rise in Rick and Morty's grossest joke. It appeared like a solution had been discovered that sort of drew to an end. In theory, Rick's creation of sentient torsos that could only commit suicide offered an excuse to abandon the previous spaghetti sources. But protesters stormed the facility demanding that their spaghetti return to its original flavor and demanding torsos' rights at the same time. These two forces quickly and brutally made each other obsolete. Rick's response to the spaghetti problem. Rick used a moving montage to trick Morty. Even while Rick hasn't figured out the Rick Prime plan from Rick and Morty season 7, he has devised a workable solution for that amort. To create the recipe and share the old man's last moments with the world, Rick persuaded him to give up his life and turn it into pasta. Just as Rick had always anticipated, everyone's comfort level DRO as soon as they learned about this man's colorful past. The Smiths choose ignorance. The awful truth wasn't even anything Morty wanted to know. Sal's surprise steak was served to the Smith family in place of spaghetti. In the movie, that's Moore's last moment. The family was hesitant to try this new meal at first, but they quickly discovered that it was just as tasty, filling, and addicting as their traditional spaghetti. Rick then started to allude to the awful beginnings of the dinner, but the Smiths steadfastly refused to hear about them, and made the conscious choice to be in the dark about their significance. The strange post-credits of Season 7, Episode 4 of Rick and Morty Sticky. The strange last scene of the episode described even the ridiculous first post-credit stinger from Rick and Morty Season 7, was nothing compared to the last seconds of that some more. A crew of intelligent Hoover cleaners found themselves in an odd parallel dimension where Hoover bags sprang from a grow-like monster that was ending its own life. The Rick and Morty Stinger talking appliances like the pasta buyers were appalled by the news. Thanks for watching, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe and click the bell icon.